So I'm Jeff Moss at Black Hat.
I'm Moxie Marlinspike, also at Black Hat.
We're in DC here, and Moxie gave a fantastic speech earlier today about some inherent vulnerabilities in HTTPS. Because if you come down and think about it, it's really dependent on HTTP. And as we all know, that's a pretty secure protocol. And so Moxie put together a pretty great presentation detailing a number of ways in which that chain of trust falls apart, especially around SSL certificates. So why don't you tell them a little bit about this long-standing problem?
Yeah, I think the talk I did today was mostly trying to introduce kind of like a new vector of attack against HTTPS. The idea is that most of the time people only interact with HTTPS through HTTP in some sense. And if that's true, then that opens up all kinds of avenues for ways that you might end up hitting HTTPS down the road. And I basically explained this vector and then gave a couple examples of things you might do. But there's actually kind of like a whole ecosystem of attacks that exist that are possible.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
And as someone who, Black Hat, we run a site, and we even, when you mentioned that the way people get to SSL protected sites is mostly through links. I mean, who types in HTTPS anymore? Nobody. And so we've gone through and carefully tried to correct every single link on our web page to HTTPS, but nobody's going to type that in. And there's no good way to redirect people to HTTPS. We can't somehow turn off HTTP to our site.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the problem with 302 redirection.
Yeah, even the redirects are vulnerable because you can hijack the redirect and prevent the upgrade or do something else.
Yeah, so even as simple as having our homepage redirected to the SSL site, that's not any guarantee.
No.
And to prove this point, you tell them about your great tool you're going to be releasing tomorrow.
Oh yeah, a tool called SSL Strip, and it does what you want. You deploy it on the network, and it man-in-the-middles all the potential SSL connections on the network.
And that's growing on your previous work.
Right. SSL Sniff, which was
The definitive SSL sniffer. I mean, hey, that's what you use, right?
Right. So that's a general purpose man-in-the-middle tool for SSL, and this is specifically attacking the bridge between HTTP to HTTPS.
And does smart rewriting of headers and
stuff.
Content type to allow the server. That's the other part that was so interesting is the more I think about it, there really is nothing you can do on the server side.
No.
I mean, if you operate a server, you're screwed, which is so sad because that's the easiest place to fix this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's things you can do, but it becomes kind of an arms race, and they're not elegant solutions. A lot of people today were talking about two-factor authentication, it's true, you can deploy two-factor authentication and prevent people from harvesting your login credentials, but you can still get the session cookie.
You can still observe all their email and observe everything that they're doing online, and that's quite valuable too sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I know somebody brought up the question of certificate authentication.
Right. Client certificate authentication probably helps solve this problem. I haven't thought about it that much, but
It's probably something
good start.
there.
Yeah.
I can't think of too much more you'd be able to do. It's complicated JavaScript in there to try to, but then you just strip out the JavaScript or put in the return values that you want.
Exactly.
What a nightmare. So you're saying, we were talking earlier, that some of these problems have been around for, I don't know, 6 years, 10, since people first started using HTTPS.
Right. Yeah, totally. I was saying the original basic constraints vulnerability that I ended up publishing for SSL Sniff was around for 6 years before I disclosed it.
You disclosed it in 2002.
Yeah.
And we're still. And you said you're still suffering. I mean, when you audit or you look for this problem, there's still certificates issued with no basic constraint requirements.
So, yeah. And also, yeah, and I mean this. Attacking this bridge between HTTP and HTTPS, I mean, that's as old as the deployment of HTTPS, right? This has been around.
And when we talk about SSL, TLS is the same.
Sure.
We use that word interchangeably, so it's not just SSL v3 or something.
Right.
And then I'm guessing you could deploy this on any kind of SSL connection for SMTP TLS or POP TLS.
Yeah, I mean, there are different tricks for different protocols.
Right. So, pretty scary. Check out his video. We'll be posting that online as well. And download his tool from
thoughtcrime.org.
thoughtcrime.org. Thanks.
Thank you.